Doing wonderful, Chris. Expected to see a pretty good turnout and show here tonight at COTA. How about yourself, Chris? Yes, from spectating the practice as well with you, it seems like, for the most part, the troublesome spot is either entering or mid part through the S's in the first sector of the track. Once you get downhill from turn 1-2 complex, after turn 2, you have the S's here at COTA, and that can really throw people for a loop. But this is a pretty long and trickery course here, so all about who can finesse their best way through the field if they need to come up through the field, or maybe one of the ones that's starting up in the front positions are going to have the better night. Only time will tell, Chris. '23, I do believe. 22 or 23. I always get confused myself whether it's 21, 22, 23, somewhere in that proximity. Let's just go with 22 to be on the safe side. One. Yeah, it's a man-made elevations. They really went in and excavated a lot of natural ground. It's not like Watkins Glen or Road America, where it's a natural lay of the land through the hills and mountains there, or even as some people familiar with European circuits, like, for instance, the Nürburgring, that is literally driving around a mountain with select villages throughout. So this very man-made circuit, very tricky and challenging. So it can cause and get a few people kind of, like you say, you kind of out of place. You kind of think, oh, well, I'm at this part of the track, but no, I'm actually over here, as we see uh, the race day information, or the temperature and everything, like you were pulling up there. Yep. Just under the length of Road America, so not quite 4 miles, but still enough mileage to uh, be sufficient, one would think, for a good length of a road course. Yes, about 2.25 second lap times, about 2:16, 2:17, 2:18 range in that ballpark. So it does take a good minute to complete a lap here, for sure.
Okay, and thank you to Skylar who told me that my microphone wasn't working, but should be good now. At least we caught it a little earlier.
Yes, that's always good to get things out of the way early, like you said.
Ah, if it's not one thing, it's another. Well,
Indeed, I have to agree with you there. Cars getting gridded here on the back straightaway.
All right, seems
So
like
they're
all right, since these guys are getting gridded, we'll take you through the field now. Starting off on the pole position is Caleb Sellner with Jaden Sanchez on his outside. Row 2 is going to be Brock Page with Caleb Shelton. Row 3, Philip Bridgman and Skylar Sixton. Row 4 is Jason Pearson with John Tiller. Row 5 is Chris Schaefer with Timothy Cook. Row 6 is going to be Toby Kelsey with Josh Small. And row 7 will be Jacob Carter and Brian Hunton Jr. Row 8 will be Randy Koking and Chris Campbell. Row 9, Aaron Bradford and Miguel Campo. Row 10 is going to be Cameron Smith with Matt Staten. And bringing up the rear of the field is going to be Blake Maddow.
So, top 9 qualified, even though Chris Schaefer's lap time is a bit off the pace, so he probably just went out there to set a lap time to have a good chance of starting somewhere a bit further up the field. I would look for Caleb Sellner to be the one to watch this evening. He kind of is a road course ringer specialist. He prefers road course racing and dirt track racing, so keep an eye on, I guess it would be the 78 machine here this evening. Caleb is in, so
yes sir.
As we make our way out of the stadium section into the double right-hander, down the little short chute into turn, what is that, turn 20, I believe, into 21, so 21, 22 turn circuit here, depending on which ones you want to call. Pace car is going to peel off there, that Porsche Carrera Cup car. And maiden voyage down the front straightaway, good start looking to be for Caleb Sellner, and he's going to get a good hole shot launch up the hill, Chris. And the front 4 have some space.
Oh, overshooting the corner.
Oh, that's terrible. Lock up there for Caleb Sellner. Did not expect that to be at all. Wow.
Ooh,
tough
to the
break
back.
For how much damage do you think he could have sustained? So we see the front 2, Caleb Sellner and the 9. Who is in the 9 again? That's Jaden Sanchez, I do believe.
Yeah. Yep, he got out of it all right.
Both the front row sitting drivers locked up, and Sellner comes away with the worst for wear.
Straight into the wall.
A lot of front end damage. One can only wonder how much damage he sustained on that automobile. Not any quick repairs in the Cup Series here in the BNR Racing Series. So, as we already see Caleb working his way up through the field, he's got a tad bit of damage, but it must not be hampering him too much, as he's already made his way back up into 10th place. Not too sure how many spots he initially lost, because the field did kind of spread out there on that opening start. Oh, trouble, Brock Page. Brock Page in the hairpin there, and turn 10, I believe, turn 10 or 11. Like I said, whichever you want to call these corners, as we take a replay here on the initial start, as it looks like we called it live, just lock up on the front row, and then everybody kind of trying to get jockey in there for position. But Brock Page had a problem in turn 10. He wadded it up with a couple of other drivers. Just a good possibility of either being maybe in the wrong gear or just getting back into the throttle a bit too early.
My goodness, Will, there is so much going on in this first lap, and we got more contact here. It's like Timothy Cook in that 29. just just a lot going on in this first lap. Not even
Yes,
able to
the
catch up with
opening.
everything, catch up with the replays and the crashes. There's
Ooh,
just so much.
Randy Koking got into the back of the 29 car there. Like you said, Cook trying to get his way through this opening lap. He had some contact as well, I believe, with the aid of Cameron Smith before they finished that lap in the third sector of the track. So got to try to limit your mistakes, be cautious, really take it easy. But we really haven't seen that. Like you said, the opening lap, kind of a bunch of just things unfolded, not quite to the exact T that some of these drivers were hoping. So definitely going to either be out of position or just off kilter from the rest of the race here. Sanchez, he was practicing for pretty much days leading into this race, even practicing earlier this afternoon, just getting some extra track time. So kind of no surprise to see him in the lead with a 3.5-second lead at the moment.
Yeah, he is way out there.
As Miguel Campo having a moment coming up over the blind left-hander at the top of the hill after you get done with the S's. And that is a very easy thing to do. Get back into the throttle there, and just there on that rise on that part of the hill, hard to get traction down. As we see Caleb Sellner, as he working his way back up through the field, trying to hunt down Jaden Sanchez. If anyone could probably running down, put up a fight for this, it'll probably be Caleb, like we said on the warm-up lap, or the half a lap that they had to warm up. So,
And that 23 of Schaefer goes around.
yeah, Schaefer has a moment there in the stadium section with the double left-hander. That is actually quite simple to do. Just, oh man, car just looks like the nose just didn't quite get planted through the corner and around the back came. So some understeer problems for Schaefer, it looks like. And trouble out of the final corner. We saw Campbell backwards facing the wrong direction. That is always a terrible sight to see for a race car on a race track, setting the wrong direction from a spin.
And taking a look here. The back end just comes out. 48 almost gets him, just barely gets around.
Yeah, I think Phillip might have got involved with what happened with Brock Page. Perhaps I think I saw him get collected whenever Brock had his moment in turn 10 down there in that hairpin type of corner coming onto the back straightaway on the opening lap after Brock took the lead for that short period of time.
Ooh. We got problems with the leader? Let's take a look here. Sanchez locks it up. Oh, and he gets it sideways and loses the lead. Sanchez is no longer the leader.
Well, you can put in all the practice you want, but still something can go awry coming into the stadium section. And oh man, the back end of the car just whipped around on him. Probably just couldn't feel it at the time. He probably just thought, you know, just running kind of normal. And these current gen, I hate using that term next gen because we're already here. We've had these cars for a year and a half now. So this Gen 7 car, really, it can be quite unpredictable of when the handling will just go away from you. So as we see Aaron Bradford having what looks like to be a problem here. Oh. one of those false hope replays, I suppose, Chris.
Yeah.
It was
Indeed.
something, but then again, it was nothing. Caleb Shelton. We have 2 Calebs this evening. So Caleb Shelton, not quite too sure who the points leader is, but I would assume he's somewhere there at the top.
See, we may have some issue with Josh Small. And just overshoots that corner. That first tight hairpin corner when they get to the top of the hill is just a tough one.
Yes, it can be a very difficult corner because you're coming up this incline and way uphill, and breaking wall going uphill is quite a challenge within of itself. And then you got to make this tight left-hander. I was kind of in fear of maybe seeing some cars or some drivers maybe get a bit gutsy maybe and go for some opening lunges on this opening start that we had here earlier, but we didn't see none of that. It was, for the most part, a very cautious opening start to this race, Chris, except for the front row locking up. So we didn't see any desperate or very attempts to go to the inside, because that part of the track, it can be very deceiving, make you want to do something like that, but it narrows up at the top of the hill as far as the apex goes, so got to be careful.
Yeah, not only breaking uphill like you said, but I mean you can't even see the corners up there. But
right,
there's a lot of blind corners on this track. That's what it is.
well, a good percentage of your road courses, you will have most of the corners will be a blind corner. For instance, pretty much almost all the corners at Watkins Glen are 90-degree corners, whether it's a left or right-hander.
Maybe it's just my personal memory, because the Glen's been on the schedule for, I don't know, as long as I remember, and this has not.
Well, I mean, you know, the Glen does have like the signature uphill S's, and the bus stop that got put in, I want to say that got incorporated in 92 or 93. J.D. McDuffie lost his life at the Glen, and Tommy Kendall and some other sports car and Trans Am drivers kind of broke their legs or had some accidents themselves because of either hung throttle or brake failure. So that's when the dogleg was incorporated. So, but for the most part, yeah, Watkins Glen does have a few corners that are 90-degree blinders. This track, Road America has a few as well. If you're familiar with,
some trouble, looks like Bradford and Campbell get together. Taking a look here. It's like just off the track. False alarm, I guess. Back to the green racing action. We got 20 laps to go here, Will.
So these drivers this evening are getting on a full tank of racing fuel this evening, 70% fuel in these Cup cars in the BNR Cup Series. So about 15 to 17 laps on a full tank. So that's when we should start seeing green flag pit stops. We don't really suspect to see a caution at all. Cautions don't really happen at road courses on iRacing platforms. So, anywho, about lap maybe 15 is when we should start seeing the pit stops start occurring. So just enough of a long enough distance race to have a pit stop maybe alter the course of some battles or positions that are happening throughout the field. Looks like at the moment maybe the tightest battles that we have at the moment might be between 5th and 6th place and on down for 10th and 11th. And other than that, at the moment, Chris, don't really see too many. Brock Page, actually Page, Carter, and Tiller. That threesome at the moment, that's 5th, 6th, and 7th going on. Looks like perhaps somebody was ran wide here in turn 12, or somebody tried to be the late of the last, or the last of the late breakers. As I always try to say that, I always get it backwards whenever I first try to say it, so maybe I should stop trying to say that slogan. But Carter and Page, after Page's mishap on the opening lap, trying to chase down Caleb Shelton. Shelton just kind of equaled out there in 4th position, riding behind Skylar Sixton in that 99 machine. So this is a good little quarrel for position here.
And well, look at the distance in time between 1st and to 2nd, and then 2nd to 3rd. 2nd to 3rd is a huge gap.
Yes, that's just the...
look at the blimp camera here. You can see can't even fit all 3 of them in the same frame almost.
Just the type of, I guess, driver... What's the word here I'm trying to go for? I don't want to say skill, but driver discipline, I guess, because like we mentioned or kind of talked about earlier, Caleb Sellner, more so a road course guy. We know iRacing has a lot to do there. They have basically GT4, GT3. They have different formulas of open wheel car. They even have little TCR cars, which is basically, if I'm not mistaken, they have some front wheel drive touring cars that you can also get in and be a part of. So lots of different road racing aspect of machinery to drive on iRacing, and that can kind of help a little bit as far as getting into one of these stock cars on a road course. And then, like I said, just Jaden trying to get all the practice he can at any track. And this place in particular, COTA, like you alluded to, you kind of do need a good bit of practice at. It does not hurt, but I just kind of think that the opening start, Chris, they just gave each other a lot of room, and then we just kept seeing certain people just having some incidents here and there, and maybe they were just checking up a little bit, just being extra cautious for one another, not trying to damage their car in any way. So
Didn't really talked a whole lot about Selner, who's leading the race actually. Pretty impressive after that turn one where everybody kind of stuffed it. He went straight into the wall, ends up with that nose damage and brings it back up and continues to open the lead. If you look first to third, it's almost 18 seconds. Well, that's unbelievable to come back from that
Yeah,
so quickly too.
I want to say he fell down to about maybe 13th, 15th, somewhere around there, perhaps. And then it was basically within a lap and a half, I want to say, he was back inside the top four. So very impressive comeback run for Selner after qualifying on the pole with that 216 almost flat, and just setting a very good hot pace here this evening. Basically road course ringer, like I've mentioned, just doing what he's really good at, and that's just racing at these road courses. He's got a lot of rear brake in the car. We saw the rear brake rotors glowing as he made the top of the hill, as he crested the top of the hill in turn one. So obviously using a lot of rear brake in this car, not too much front brake. He really relying on the rear of the car to do most of the braking for him, which, to be honest, I would probably want that as well. A lot of finesse, just not sure if he's he probably is excuse me, he probably is using left foot braking technique, which a lot of drivers are good at. Some it does take a lot of learning to get used to, but you can kind of see the front. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say we could see those rear rotors glowing like you were just saying. Well, the red one's glowing brighter than the front ones. We see a little in the front, but those back ones are definitely getting cherry.
Also, I was going to point out quite a bit that the front end, the front fascia of the car is kind of impaled a little bit. I'm not sure how much damage that could be, whether it's more cosmetic than internal. The hood is a little bit puffed up, but other than that, he is sailing awful clear, and just nothing but just good clear track ahead of him at the moment. He's got a good piece, a good while until he comes across any traffic. So
yeah, fortunately for him, I don't think aerodynamics really hurt too much at tracks like these because they're not hitting the high speeds as much. And with these, you don't like to call them next gen, but I don't know. We'll switch to Gen 7 at some point. But these cars are pretty resilient, other than that toe link in the rear, of course. But the bodies, they could take quite a beating. It's been good to see them hitting the walls, scraping the walls hard, and being totally fine.
yes, the geometry of the cars, the suspension, the toe links, like you say, whether it's in the front or the rear, can't really quite take that beating, but for the most part, the body and some other aspects of the chassis can. But yeah, I do agree with you. These cars can somewhat be a tank. We have seen it a little bit in the past. Caleb showed up a few weeks back for the truck race here at COTA, and he actually won the truck race, so I got a good look at him there. First time I ever got to see him compete, so I was kind of blown away with the pace that he had set that night. Oh man, so Brock Page got by Caleb Shelton while we were kind of looking over Hellner's race car, just observing the damage there, and just kind of muscled Jacob Carter kind of muscled Sheldon out just a little bit, but you know, it's NASCAR. That's kind of what they do. Rubbin's racing. This is not sports car racing or formula racing, so you don't really have to be so gentleman-like or you know, be extra courteous. There is a little bit of racing. Driver etiquette that you want to display a little bit towards your fellow competitor, but what happened, Chris?
Taking a look here at the leader. Shows it selling the crack. Oh, straight through the corner. Fortunately for
Looks like
him,
he
with
had
such a massive lead, kind of doesn't even matter.
Yes, he can make slight mistakes like that and get away with it, regroup, just regather himself. Looks like he just had another lockup at the top of the hill. You can see that time the front brakes really had to do some work, so good possibility of another lockup there. You don't want to lock up too many times because that can really put the wear on the tire. You can flat spot the tires.
Ooh, and looks like Aaron Bradford around,
so to speak.
Aaron Bradford looks like he's gonna lose the back end on here. Overcorrects it, whips it back around. Get that back going, and looks like we may have trouble with Jacob Carter right out there. Oh, coming out of the pits now.
So
and spins it right out of the exit.
Oh man, cold tires. One could assume possibly just cold tires.
Cameron Smith maybe having some trouble too.
We might see the same thing here. Good possibility.
There it is.
Oh,
you can see the tire marks side by side almost. Unfortunately,
yep,
those two.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some more drivers just having some issues with the cold tires coming out of the pits and getting back to the throttle up at the top of the hill, trying to get down the hill. So even though Selner had that mistake a lap ago, he still has that nice cushion, that nice buffer, so he can make a mistake or two, maybe three, and as long as it's not back into the Armco, he should be okay. So as we see some drivers kind of choosing to pit early, hoping to get a little bit of ground with the fresh tire, but as we saw a couple of drivers try to do that, they kind of make a mistake with the cold tires, so not sure how much ground or what they will be able to gain. The undercut can work from time to time, but it's more so the overcut that seems to work better. But I guess those drivers pitted basically right when the window would be optional to come in and pit instead of waiting till the tank runs out type of situation. Did Brock Page come in and pit, or did he make another mistake, Chris?
Let's take a look.
Because he was up here around Skylar Sixton and.
Page did pit on lap 10.
Oh, okay. So lap 10, and so should have just enough fuel to make it to the end here with Brock Page. Like we said, some drivers choosing to do a shortcut strategy as far as basically pit right when that window is open. Others waiting just a little bit longer.
Got a few more takers here. Sixton, Tiller, and Pearson.
You would expect the race leader and second place man Sanchez to stay out till their car probably, maybe lap 16 into this race, perhaps, maybe 15. I would see those guys for sure trying to get all they can out of their machine.
99 will gone around before he gets off of pit road.
Yeah, right.
Those cold tires are dangerous. It's Skylar Sixton.
Yes, that was way before the exit line or the exit cone.
Just throttled up.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that's deadly tonight for the cold tire situation, or basically fresh set of tire. You can see the makeshift wall that gets put up whenever the stock cars arrive here. It's kind of cool that they incorporate that as well into iRacing.
Ooh, and Campo shoots it coming out of pit road. So Sellner continuing to open up his lead even more. He's got 11 seconds over Sanchez, even after making that mistake, growing the lead. And the difference between Sanchez and Shelton being second and third is about 20 seconds. Unbelievable, Will.
I think Sellner had about an 8-second lead before he had that other lockup at the top of the hill. And now, like I kind of alluded to, he got back refocused, got his racing line back dotted down, got back, regathered all his thoughts from that one mistake, and just back in the zone. Blistering pace, I'd have to say. Just unbelievable pace he has at these road courses.
Yeah, sometimes.
Go ahead, Chris.
When you get off track, make a mistake, you make more mistakes trying to get back on track, and you just gotta clear your head, just reset. All right, let's just start over for a second. Stop trying to fix it.
Yes, indeed. It can be very costly. Just one mistake can get in your head a little bit, like you say.
Pearson off track.
It can really trigger you to make more mistakes. Let's see the 82 Napa Know-How car.
So he heads up the hill, just locks him up for quite a distance.
Huge lockup, yes.
Well, good thing you don't get stuck in the sand in iRacing, Will.
And another good thing, he was able to slow it down enough to where he didn't hit that FIA safer barrier, basically. So
here we go. We got second place Sanchez heading onto pit road right now.
Man, the commitment line at COTA and iRacing is you can really speed into that if you can hit it just right. It looks like they really let you go get away with a lot here at COTA as far as trying to get onto pit road. But of course that can come around and bite you If you try a bit too hard or too drastically, it's a very sharp left-hander, and you got walls on either side of you. So very narrow pit road entry once you do make that commitment.
Sanchez goes around. Coming off that
Oh,
first
man.
corner. We got Toby Kelsey on pit road.
Depending on how much time he loses here, he could lose that second place. I think we have seen just about everybody in this field make a mistake here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, for sure. We're at this point just keeping an eye on pit exit. Oh, here we go. And that's 51, Toby Kelsey. Ends up in the outside wall. Now he's got some left side damage, unfortunately.
Might have a toe link out, or maybe the toe is out on the 51 as far as on the front side of the car. That is a hard hit for sure. Probably the hardest hit we've seen besides Skylar Sixton kind of backing it into the wall. Yeah, right across the bow of the Page machine. So ever since pit exit, Sanchez just not able to get back in the groove of things. Man. So that's going to put Brock Page on the final step of the podium. Caleb Shelton, the two Calebs, 1-2 here, and then Brock Page. Jaden Sanchez trying to recover from this terrible outlap he has had.
Shelton
I was curious about Caleb Shelton finally making his pit stop, you say?
Yes, sir.
All right, well,
Let's see if he gets off the pit road.
I thought he made it the same time. I thought he came in whenever Tiller came in, I thought, but I think that was Skyler. So wonder if he might be able to run down Sanchez, perhaps, if Sanchez has not got back into the groove of things, back into composure from having that terrible outlap that we noted on. Sanchez is only about 4 seconds off of Brock Page, so maybe we might have a battle for second on our hands soon. What were you going to say, Chris? My apologies. And I believe, with that being said, I believe everybody has made their pit stop for this race. So shouldn't necessarily see anybody else down pit road. If it is, then it's probably for some type of repair services. Okay, Schaefer down pit road. My apologies.
Looks like he missed the pit entrance a bit. And is that Bradford? Yeah, we got Bradford and Schaefer on pit road right now. Last couple of stragglers.
Yes, yes, indeed. They were trying to go as long as possible, it looks like. So
Schaefer is off.
I don't think our race leader's pitted yet, has he, or has he?
I don't think he has, actually.
Well, maybe he should be coming down this lap then. So my apologies about saying everybody has completed their green flag pit stop or cycle of pit stops. I
No,
get ahead
he
of
did pit.
myself sometimes.
No,
Oh,
he did
okay.
pit with on lap 15.
Another case of we didn't see it. The same thing happened to me and Brian in the truck race a few weeks back.
Speaking of Brian, on pit road right now.
So he was one of the few drivers that waited till basically the end of the pit window to pit when the fuel of the car was basically gone. So,
Just
like I
running on
said, that can
vapors.
be a good, yep, that could
Oh!
be a good.
Spins the tires on pit road and gets the inside wall. Maybe that little mistake there will keep him from making a big mistake right here. Alright, and Brian's made it off the pit road.
Yeah,
Chris
he took it
Campbell.
very easy for the most part. Very very uncharacteristically to see someone make a mistake like that in the pits. Not sure kind of what happened there. Maybe just could have, maybe just a wheel problem or something to that effect, possibly, Chris?
I think he probably just throttled up too quick.
Yeah, I
Pretty
would have
easy
to
to
agree with
do with
that
these
as well,
cars.
yes.
Chris Campbell coming off the pit road.
Now, Brock Page with the shortcut, or the what we have been saying, he was one of the first pit road takers when the pit window became open, basically, in the strategy. So he has gained a place. He was running third when he pitted, I do believe. So he had taken that position over from Skyler, and with some misfortune from Jaden, unfortunately, he has found himself in second position, 21 seconds, about 22, off of the race leader. Not sure if he has what it takes. He's probably just content and happy running in second. If I'm not mistaken, this is only Brock's second race here at COTA, so doing a pretty good job for it, just being his only second race, if I'm not mistaken. Field pretty well spread apart. Might be a battle between Shelton and Carter, perhaps, or Shelton just getting around Carter with the fresh tires. But other than that, Chris, not too much going on. 11th, 12th, and 13th might be close
Oh, we got one
together.
around. That's a 23.
Oh, Chris Schaefer.
Let's take a look what happened. Yep, back end just come out.
Yep. Like you alluded to earlier, just that throttle, getting back into the throttle with these cars, really any car in that predicament or that type of situation probably would have done the same exact thing there. This, not quite a 90-degree corner. It's actually probably more like 105, maybe 110-degree angled corner. That turn, I want to say that's turn 11, maybe turn 12, without actually looking at a numbered track map here with the corners. Trying to do my best with trying to remember which corner is which. So I like that shot right there of looking through the S's, see who can get through them the best and navigate that portion of the track. It's kind of sad that the gantry over the finish line does not show how many laps have been completed. That's kind of sad that iRacing doesn't incorporate that little detail there. It's basically every driver has their own driving style. It's kind of hard, Chris, to find two drivers with the same style, but it kind of can be done. But for the most part, everybody's different. That's what makes us each different within our own right. And just looking at certain corners of a racetrack, it's always intriguing. Like I said about the S's, to see how people flow through the S's, or even the stadium portion of the track where you get into that double left-hander section, or before you make that double left-hander, excuse me, right-hander. It's always nice to see how people go through the stadium section of the track. Also, how people break into that, going down the long back straightaway, Chris, and then they break into what I believe is turn 12. I could be wrong. That could be turn 11. Selner navigating through the traffic.
Got a little bit of lockup on that 68 car. Campbell. So right now, not a whole lot going on. It was pretty well spread out.
Yep, that's kind of what happens at these road courses, Chris. Everybody gets spread out for the most part, especially after pit stops, as we've seen, can be just as tricky as the course itself, getting those cold temperatures of the tire, the fresh tire that gets put onto your race car, and you're trying to make it up that hill, or even getting off pit road we saw was tricky. So Brock Page has a good 6 seconds or so buffer over Sanchez, then about 15 seconds down to Jacob Carter in 4th place from Sanchez. Shelton's about, what would that be, 3-4 seconds from Carter. Then Tiller, he's 10 seconds from Shelton. Got a few cars, a handful of cars, a lap down by the pace of Caleb Selner this evening.
Oh, and Schaefer's gone around.
Gone around again.
Yep, back end just come out again.
Yep. That first right-hander coming into the stadium section of the track. Very similar to what happened to Jaden whenever he had his moment there in the opening laps of the race. About lap 4, I believe it was, for Jaden. Lap 5, 4 or 5. Oh, Philip had a moment there at the top of the hill, at the top of the bluff. That blind uphill left-hander coming at the crest of the hill.
The possible trouble for Sanchez. Let's take a look. And just overshoots the corner again. There's only a lockup, so nothing bad come out of that. Oh, it's a flat spotting.
Yep, trying to make up some time he has lost earlier in the race and just overcooking the tire, like you said. You can really see the lockup that happened on that left front. Four laps remaining here, Chris.
Running this one out pretty quickly. Takes a little less time when there's no cautions.
Yeah, very true. No cautions, and also just a decent length of a road course, I guess you could say. Basically, I want to say, I'm trying to remember how much they do here in the real world in the Cup Series. It was more than the Grand Prix. Grand Prix here, I think, is only 54 laps. I think they ran something like 68 laps here, or I think it was 68 that they ran here in the Cup Series. So just basically a quarter of a distance, if that, to do here this evening. But certainly sufficient enough to have a pretty good race out of it, I would have to say, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at Caleb Shelton trying to catch up with Jacob Carter here. Shelton holding down that 5th place position right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of about where he was running earlier in amongst that tight-knit group that was really in a dogfight earlier in the race. He was running about that 4th, 5th, 6th position, about that, before they all started to make those pit stops, Chris, and he's kind of just equalized there in that 5th position. Chris Schaefer bringing it down pit road again here. Looks like for a new set of tires.
He's just sitting now, wondering if he's getting some damage fixed or if he's just called it quits. Have to keep an eye on him.
Well, we did see the car go up in the air, so presumably one would assume just getting a fresh set of tires, but like you said, could be calling it quits. I would just try my best to just go back out there and finish the race. I mean, you stuck it out for this long, you know, kind of why not finish it, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. Only got a handful of laps left, but I've been known to rage quit, so I can't really say too much.
Yes,
Not saying that he did rage quit, but
well, I'll be honest, whenever I would show up for a road course event after, say for instance, I would get involved in my first incident, I would try to stick it out. If there was maybe a caution, I could get back into it, and if I got involved in another incident after I got caught back up, I would just, all right, I'm done at that point. But if I couldn't get caught back up, I would just go ahead and bow out. I gave it a good effort, but sometimes it was just not enough.
Selner with a 30-second lead over Page in second place. Should be coming up on the 2 to go mark any second now, and there it is. Selner just got to bring him around 2 more times. And we got trouble with Aaron Bradford. Let's take a look. Something happened with him. Yeah, just loses the back end. Nose into the fence. And there goes the whole nose of the car.
Yeah, the front fascia clip comes off of the car. Busted radiator, one could presume. And did the real smart thing there. Tried to get it towed as quick as possible. Once he, couldn't get it back going again, he didn't want to be facing backwards too much longer. So real good A for effort trying to get that car off the track. So I really do applaud that for sure. Just unfortunate for Aaron. He was really trying to stick it out, really doing good for the most part as far as keeping it on the island, keeping it between the paint. That's really what you want to do when you come to a road course. You want to keep it between the lines. You don't want to venture too far off. So everybody but the top 10 currently 1 lap down. I think that will be all who gets a lap down. Don't see Brian Huntley in danger of going a lap down. He's not 2 minutes off the pace. He's only about 1.5 minutes. So we do know that delta time is at least 2:18 or so of risk of being a lap. So white flag be in the air shortly, if not already, Chris.
There we go, just got it.
So Caleb Selner making his final lap. Definitely don't want any mistakes here. So clean final lap, probably just going to back it off just a little bit perhaps, or just perhaps as well just do what he has been doing for the past 15 or 20 some odd laps. Man, you got a flag man at the start line and the finish line waving a white flag. That's nice.
Selner with a 32-second lead, finishing this race up with the white flag. Unbelievable. He took the lead and checked out well.
Yes, he did. Coming into the stadium section for the final time of running. Looks like the only true battle that we have left on track is between Cameron Smith and Skylar Sixton. So after Selner takes the checkered, we'll have to look back in on that in just a moment. As Selner making his way through the double right-hander into the short chute, into what is presumed turn 20, into the next short chute, into turn 21, then making that left-hander, 90-degree left-hander onto the start-finish straight, taking the stripe. Caleb Selner going to win here this evening, Chris, in dominant fashion, one would have to say. even after making that lockup mistake on the opening lap at the top of the hill.
Yeah, just crazy. I said it probably 4 times. Unbelievable. He did a
Brock
he
Page
did
will.
a he did a Chase Elliott straight into the wall and then win.
Yeah, good point there. Yeah, Chase Elliott did that at the Roval that one year. That was the same year he won the championship, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, pulled a chase. Yes, indeed. Brock Page second, Sanchez third, presumably, as they come across the stripe. Then, like I said, that battle that we see, not sure how close it is, doesn't look to be too close, but between Smith and Sixton. So I do believe everybody has to get to the start finish line in order for Selner to do a victory celebration. So, or the race has to officially be over, I do believe, something to that degree. So Selner on the cool down lap, so to speak. I can't wait to ask him, just how much damage, if it was mainly just cosmetic from the looks of things, like how did the car handle after he snuffed it into the wall, like you said. That'd be the best thing to ask him, I would have to say, once we do hopefully get to talk to him.
All right, well, let's run down the final results. Bringing it home in an unbelievable dominant fashion is Caleb Sellner. Second place is Brock Page. Jaden Sanchez ends up in third on the podium. Jacob Carter in fourth. Caleb Shelton brings it home in top five. John Tiller is sixth. Jason Pearson seventh. Eighth is Cameron Smith. Ninth is Skylar Sixton, and Brian Huntley brings it home in 10th. Timothy Cook in 11th, Philip Bridgman in 12th, Miguel Campo 13th, Chris Campbell is 14th, 15th goes to Josh Small, 16th is Aaron Bradford, 17th is Chris Schaefer, 18th goes to Randy Koking, 19th is Toby Kelsey, 20th goes to Matt Staten, and right at the rear of the field is Blake Madu. Looks like he actually didn't start the race. So we're going to take a quick break while we watch Selner burn it down, and we'll be right back for some interviews.
Yes. Yeah, I can try my best. Yes, indeed.
Alright, welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We've got our third place finisher, Jaden Sanchez.
Hi.
Hey, Jaden.
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Just good finish for you. Positive result. You were hoping for a top 5 when we were talking to you before the start of the race. Cold tires seemed to catch out just about all of the field once they did make their green flag pit stop, and it seemed to catch you out as well. Uh, what seemed to be the problem there, Jaden?
Honestly, just wrong gear.
Oh,
I went into first when I should have been in second, and
gotcha.
I messed up. Honestly, I already knew Caleb was gonna run away with it, so I wasn't even gonna try to beat him. I mean, I'm happy I led those 2 laps, and that started the race. I really thought Caleb wrecked out, and I was like, not gonna lie, I was like happy at first, thinking that Brock also wrecked out, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. And then I'm like, nope, never mind, they're back. So I never wish for a competitor to be out, but like that was just like a good feeling at first, just because knowing that, hey, well, at least I have some leeway. But as always, I made that one mistake and shifted and had to save it, and Caleb passed me easy peasy, and then I had second locked up, and then that one pit stop screwed me up, and Brock was able to capitalize off me, and there's nothing I could do about it after that. Made too many mistakes, but yeah, third place is good. I mean, I won the Xfinity Series here last Thursday, so I mean, I'm not mad about it. It's just hard racing, and yeah.
Well, like I said, congratulations to you to be able to drive back to third place. It could have been a lot worse. You could have lost some more positions, but you were able to. You just kind of had a bad outlap because also you came across the nose of Paige there. I believe in
Yeah.
turn 12, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Off the
Yeah.
back straightaway, just almost wiped each other out, but somehow didn't.
Yeah, I locked up, and I wasn't trying to, and I honestly thought he was gonna do just like wait a little bit, just so he didn't turn me and he didn't get wrecked. But I mean, he was making the corner, and I didn't think, I don't think he thought I was gonna try to dive bomb, and I wasn't even trying to dive bomb. I was trying to just break a little, later than him, and tires just said no, and that smoke really is what killed me. But yeah, it's all good. Good, like I said, I knew Caleb's a road course guy, and Brock's just always fast. And one day I'll beat Caleb, one day, but not anytime soon. So, um, yeah, it's just part of it.
Well, Jaden, do you have any shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, shout outs to you guys. You guys are awesome. Shout outs to Caleb and Brock. They were fast all week. There's nothing I can do. There's still a lot of things I gotta learn. I'm quick, but not as quick as them. So, we'll take this and try to move on to Richmond, which I'll probably get dumped into, but I'll try to get a top 5 there for you guys, and hopefully a podium, and see if I can get up here next week in the
Well, thanks for talking to us, Jaden, and best of luck to you going forward at Richmond.
Alright, we've got Brock Page with us.
What's up?
Well, hello, Brock Page. A good second step on the podium here at Circuit of the Americas. Just tell us about that opening lap and how tricky it was for just about everybody. You had your own hands full there, it seemed, and that early pit stop really kind of right when the pit window opened. Uh, discuss that as well, please.
Oh, that first lap was like being the first one out on the interstate after it just snowed really hard. You kind of don't have anyone to base yourself off of. And I watched them go through turn 1, and I believe it was turn 5 or 6 that I spun out in. And I was like, man, I was sitting there and I was like, all right, I'm just going to let everybody go. I was like, I already knew I was going to try to short pit and try to make up some time that way. So I was sitting there, I was like, all right, I'm just going to let him go. I'm not going to pull out in front of him, nothing like that. And then me and Phil were playing the staring game, blinking contest, that's what it is. We was having a blinking contest, and Phil lost, so I took off, and Yeah, I short pitted, and I didn't take tires because I didn't want new tires. I didn't want to go through that stuff again. So yeah, I mean it was fun. Uh, I don't know if he had an issue going down in the corner, but I know he spun out coming out of pit road, and then probably just the same deal. Tires are still cold, and he slid in there. I don't know if I got any damage out of it. It didn't matter anyways. Caleb, he was gone. He was another zip code literally. He's like half a minute ahead of me. So they said he was really good. So I'll take second.
Yeah, from what I understand, Caleb is a kind of a road course guy, mainly road course and dirt track background on the iRacing platform here. So uh, very interesting to see. I guess you could say a road course specialist come in during these road course races in the BNR schedule and see how he can kind of stack up against you guys. So next week, moving forward to Richmond, that 1/8 of a mile of a track out there in Virginia. How do you think you would fare if you were able to show up next week to Virginia?
Man, I don't know because this new car on short tracks is like not my thing. The only one I'm still really decent at is Bristol, but me and Richmond never get along, so I'll take a top 10 there. That's my expectations is a top 10, but got to just see how it plays out and what all happens between here and there. It's still a whole week away. Got some time to prepare. So I'm gonna just show up and do my thing. That's all I can really do.
Yes, indeed, Brock. Agree with you there. Got any shout outs or anything else you'd like to add about the race before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the field. I mean, it was a pretty good race. The lap cars, they didn't get in the way. They moved up as soon as you got to them. So shout out to them. Shout out to Caleb. He's fast, man. So it's good to. I saved the replay, so I'm gonna go back and watch some things he was doing. Try to be better for next time. Uh, Shout out to you guys for broadcasting this. It's always fun to go back and watch, and because you don't see everything that happens, especially here. You know. Uh, but yeah, that's really about it.
Well, Brock, congratulations on that P2. Thanks for talking to us tonight, and good luck moving forward to Richmond.
All right, thank you.
All right, now we've got our winner, Caleb Sellner. I'm just gonna say this: put on an absolute clinic. Will, what do you got
Yeah,
for him?
Well, Caleb, I'm always impressed whenever I do get to see you when you decide to come and race in the BNR. You dominated the truck race, no holds barred there, but you kind of made it just a tad bit difficult, a little bit for yourself on the opening lap. You had a massive lockup, slid right into the kitty litter, into the Armco. I had a huge question ever since I saw that. Was it just more cosmetic damage? Did the car feel differently after that impact with the Armco, or just tell us about that, Caleb?
it happened with just cold brakes, cold tires going into turn one. And I was just hitting my braking point for hot tires and hot brakes. But with the damage, it wasn't cosmetic. It was actually performance. My wheel was
Mm.
cocked like 5 to 6 degrees to the left, and it was
Oh
tough
wow!
battling the car all the way through.
So you actually basically had a toe out of alignment there, and wow, it's so you could have had basically a bigger lead and probably could have lapped a few more drivers, is what you're saying, if you didn't have that mishap there, perhaps. But
Possibly, I wouldn't say so much, but probably would have helped a little bit.
right on. Just how were you able to put down that burner of a lap, 2:16, almost flat, might as well call it flat, of a lap time for the pole position this evening?
Uh, Honestly, that lap, I know it's going to sound braggy, but that wasn't particularly good lap for me. I was just mainly worried about, because it's qualifying, keeping the car on track so I can get good time in.
Right on. Um, moving forward, I know you're probably only going to show up to the dirt races and the road courses, but just moving forward, what do you expect to come later on when you do show up?
Honestly, just hoping to do well, top fives. Nothing particularly, I don't think, special on ovals.
So,
Dirt race, I'm hoping to at least get a top three for that.
yeah, we've heard some good things as far as you and your father, mainly dirt racing, for the most part, and you do a lot of road racing. So, me particularly, I like it. I I I was a big fan of seeing people like Ron Fellows and others, Tommy Kendall, for instance, come into NASCAR having that sports car road racing background, and see how they could fare towards at the time the best NASCAR drivers in the states. And you don't necessarily get to see that much anymore in the real world, but as far as on iRacing on the sim, you pretty much are one of those types of drivers, in my opinion, as much as I've heard and everything about you. So, uh, big congratulations to you, Caleb. Like
Thank
like
you.
Chris said, you put on a clinic. You won by over 30 seconds, and that is just a blistering pace. Um, Even with the toe out of alignment, like you said, just me personally, I probably would have just been like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm done for the evening." I would not have put up with that type of car. That's for sure. That's just me being me. But man, you fought with it after Chris kind of said you kind of uh, he kind of pulled a Chase Elliott, because that's kind of what he did a few years back at the Roval. So. Uh, yeah, I kind of thought it might be a bit tough on you coming back up through the field like you did. I'm not sure how far you fell down, like about 13th or 14th maybe. And by about lap 3, I think it was, you were already back in second place, I do believe. But
Yeah, lap
uh,
4, I had taken back the lead. Yeah,
yep. Big congratulations, Caleb,
thank
and
you.
thanks for talking to us. Do you have any shout outs or something else you might want to add?
I appreciate the comments of comparing me to those amazing drivers, and I'd like to thank Brian for having me in this league. Richard as well. Uh, yeah, thank you guys for having us. Thank you for broadcasting. That's probably about it.
All right,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, before we get out of here, you got any final words?
Well, final thoughts of mine here this evening, Chris. I would have to say, pretty intriguing COTA race, like I thought it was going to be at the top of the show. We saw, like we said, just about every driver make some sort of mistake here. We said at the top of the show, mistakes need to be at a minimum. You don't really want to make them, but they were certainly made here this evening, which, hey, that's going to happen with road racing. You are going to have some. And just look forward to Richmond to see what type of racing we're going to see there next week at Richmond. Just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Richmond, good short track. Has put on some good battles there, so I'll be looking forward to that. Other than that, it's been a good night broadcasting with you, Will, and we'll see you at the next track.
Most definitely. Back to you as well with that sentiment.
All right, but that's going to do it for us here at 1-5 Studios. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the BNR Cup action every Saturday night at 8:30 Eastern, only here on the 1-5 Studios channel. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next track.